Hello and welcome to my weekly video blog, and today on Ava Talks Menopause I'm going to be talking about more questions that have been asked about post-menopause. If you like my tips and advice, then please subscribe and remember to hit the bell icon so you can be notified of all my new videos. Last week I talked about 4 common questions that I get asked regularly on the post-menopause situation, and today I'm going to look at 4 more. So number 1, what's the most common cause of bleeding after the menopause? There can be so many reasons for this. If you're still within the 2 years post-menopause, very often it's hormonal. Our hormones don't fall gracefully and slowly towards where they're going to go to. Sometimes for some reason you can get a sudden spike. Your hormones can just go up for no reason. So you could have been a year and a half without any periods and suddenly one appears, and very often that could be a last surge. It could be things to do with stress. It could be change your diet. A lot of women, when they start to improve their diet, it can cause a resurgence in the hormones. If, however, you're 2 years after your periods are finished, 3 years or onwards, and you get a bleed, this is the point when you do need to check with your doctor. There can be any number of reasons. As you go further post-menopause, your womb can get a lot thinner, and many women don't realize that they could have fibroids. Now, these are little benign growths in the womb. They can be there for years and years, causing absolutely no problem at all. But when your womb starts to thin, these little fibroids can be exposed, they can be irritated, and they can bleed, and it can feel like a period. You can sometimes get cysts or polyps in the womb as well, and these can bleed too. It could be what's called a prolapse. So this is where the pelvic girdle muscles, so these are muscles that hold the womb, the bladder and the bowel in place. If these muscles weaken, then the womb, the bowel or the bladder can shift position, and sometimes the womb can end up being squashed. It can be pushed sideways or backwards or even forwards, and that can be enough to irritate it to cause a bleed. It can sometimes just be a non-hormonal shedding of the lining of the womb. But if after the 2 years, and I normally say after 1 year, just to be on the safe side, if you get a period back, if you get a bleed, then please just double check with your doctor to make sure that nothing else is going on. If you get spotting, if just suddenly out of the blue you start to spot, this could indicate other issues. It could be a vaginal tear, so the wall of the vagina can get irritated. This can often happen after sexual intercourse. There can be little spotting, and all that it means is that the very thin walls of the vagina have been irritated or split, and they will bleed, causing spotting. It could also be a bladder infection. So many women panic. They see a little bit of blood when they go to the toilet, think it's a period, when it in fact is coming from a bladder infection. So again, with these ones, just double check with your doctor to make sure that nothing else is going on. Number 2, does the libido return after the menopause? This is quite a difficult one to answer because, again, it's different for every woman. Some women tell me that because their periods have stopped, because they're not worried about getting pregnant anymore, they feel liberated, and that they suddenly find that they have a much more enjoyable and active sex life. For other women, they find that maybe there's the fatigue, there's the flushes, the sweats, there's the emotional issues, because your emotional ties between partners can decrease, and sometimes that can have quite a profound effect on the way you feel sexually. Sometimes too, if we put weight on, if our body changes, we can get caught up in not looking like our youthful selves, and again that can affect our confidence. And many women tell me they don't even want their partners to see them naked anymore because they just feel so bad that their self-esteem has gone down quite a lot. So with low libido, it can be emotional issues, and in which case you can maybe chat with friends, maybe try and just realize that we are changing, but we're still beautiful women inside, regardless of how we look outside. If it's totally physical, it may well be due to low hormones, it may well be to do with fatigue. So look at your lifestyle. Are you running yourself ragged? Are you not making time for an intimate life with your partner? So you can look at herbs. Some herbs are really nice at gently boosting libido. So it would be things like Maca, Siberian ginseng, and there is actually a herb, believe it or not, called Horny goatweed. Yes, it is true. So these are herbs that you can find at your local health food shop that may be helpful for you. But again, it's about making time. It's about talking to your partner, because I do know so many women, for various reasons, they just don't feel like it, and their partners can get a bit annoyed by that, because they just feel that they're maybe not being loved enough, or they're being ignored, and all the time the poor woman is trying really hard to please everybody and is just not being happy in herself. So it's about talking to your partner and explaining what's going on with you, either physically or emotionally. And maybe, some women tell me that what they've done is they've gone back to dating. So they've started having date nights, maybe once a week or once a fortnight, where proper time has been set aside. And it's the anticipation that can sometimes be a really good aphrodisiac. You're looking forward to a time when you can spend with your partner, you can go out for a meal, go for a walk, just spend time together and get that intimacy back and just make time for it. Number 3, our moods better. From personal experience, absolutely, post-menopause was like a yo-yo or a seesaw of emotions on a monthly basis, which was quite hard to cope with sometimes. But I found post-menopause, it was just so nice for everything to be on a nice level the whole time. So for the majority of women, yes, you will find that your moods can be much more stable, you're less likely to get reactive, you can sometimes control your moods a lot better post-menopause. But having said that, your nervous system can take a real beating during the menopause when all the hormonal changes are going on, and sometimes our nervous system doesn't bounce back, which means that you can fall into flight or fight much more easily. And I know for me, my moods are much more stable, I feel great generally, but if I get stressed, it can start the panic, the anxiety all over again. So it's about being aware, much more aware of what sets you off. And I know for me, I have to watch if I get extra stressed, if I'm extra busy, if I don't drink enough water, if I don't look after myself, then the moods can come back in again. So it's being a little bit self-aware about what's going on, but generally for most women, you will feel better emotionally post-menopause. And number 4, will your hair grow back? This again is a difficult one, because it depends on what was causing the hair loss or the deterioration in hair quality to start with. We do know that for a lot of women, the thyroid can be affected. You can end up being borderline low thyroid function. That can affect your hair quite dramatically, both in terms of poor hair growth, and also the hair can become much more brittle and thinner. So this is something, if during the menopause or even the perimenopause you find that your hair is changing, this is the point that you need to step in to prevent further deterioration years down the line. So you're looking at diet, really important. You need loads of protein for good hair growth. So make sure you're getting plenty of good quality protein. If you're vegetarian or vegan, it can sometimes be difficult. You can only eat so many plates of tofu and beans and lentils. But what you can get is you can get really good quality plant-based protein powders from health food shops, and just adding one of these in to your daily diet can make a difference to your hair, your nails, your skin and your energy. So it's worth investing in something like this if you're just not too keen on adding protein into your regular diet. Again, get your thyroid checked, even post-menopause. If you suddenly notice your hair falling out, a classic sign of thyroid issues is if you start to lose the outer edge of your eyebrows, or if your eyebrows completely disappear, then definitely get this checked out by your doctor. It can also be stress. Stress eats up minerals and vitamins that we would otherwise use for our healthy hair. So if you're under a lot of stress, under a lot of pressure, then maybe look at taking a multivit, and you can now get really good supplements that are aimed specifically for your hair. Again, pop down to your local health food shop and they will point you in the right direction. And these supplements can often make quite a difference. The other thing to remember is water. If you're dehydrated, that will affect hair growth as well. So remember just to include your daily dose of plain water. So I hope you found these ones helpful. If any of you have other questions about anything that's happening to you post-menopause and you're wondering why, please do ask and I will be happy to help. And until then, I will see you next week for another edition of A. Vogel Talks Menopause.